93rd minute, absolute beautiful goal against Leicester. He's been incredible for them. I think he could be a signing that people are going to look back and go, damn, that was clever, right?
And what about Everton?
And the other team is Everton. So their midfield all of a sudden looks intimidating. They have James, Doucouré, and Alan, right? Now, Doucouré, everybody knew at Watford how good he was. Everybody, like when Watford went down, there was a few players there that people were like, he's gone, right? And Doucouré was definitely first on the list. He wins the ball, great at winning the ball, passing it on, like recycling possession, just keeping the game ticking over. He provides that strength and that kind of metronome in midfield, which I think they really need. Great at last ditch tackles. Sorry, got there.
You sounded like me for a second. You know when I struggled to find English
and
words.
then, of course, James is just... I love that all the pundits were like, oh, can he hack it in the Premier League? And it turns out, yes, he can. He's making it look pretty damn easy. So I think those are the two teams at the moment who look like their transfer business has been very clever.
And talking about Alan, let's go back to Italy, to the Serie A, where Napoli found the substitute for Alan, which
and
is...
it's not who you expected, Premier League fans.
Yeah, it's Bakayoko. Man, I don't know why Chelsea sold him in the first place, because at AC Milan, he had a very good season. And what's very funny is that when he was at AC Milan, I don't know if you remember this incident back in January 2019, but at a point... Gattuso was looking to sub Biglia, I believe, and he called Bakayoko to warm up, and Bakayoko told him to fuck off. And Gattuso...
You got to be brave to do that to Gattuso.
Yeah, you got to be. But then Gattuso now is Napoli's coach, and what is Bakayoko saying? The only reason why I went to Naples is because I wanted to play for Gattuso again.
I reckon it's like kind of, you know when there's like two hard guys in the pub and they kind of respect each other because they're both hard? I think it might be that kind of thing. Like,
and Bakayoko, I mean, taking Alan's spot, what Alan was doing at Napoli is not an easy task for anybody, but he really showed what he's worth in the game against Atalanta. He was a giant in midfield, and I was very glad to see him back in Serie A because I think he's a class player and he's kind of overlooked in England.
Yeah, it was weird. It seemed like he had 3 or 4 bad games for Chelsea and then was just dismissed straight away. But he came from Monaco, right? He was in that great Monaco team. And I remember he, again, was one of the players where everyone was like, okay, like, you know, that's a great prospect to pick up. So it doesn't surprise me that he's found a place somewhere. I'm kind of glad it wasn't at Chelsea if he's that good. But yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like Chelsea could use a player like him at the moment.
Yeah, there's probably an argument for that.
But moving to Rome, another great signing so far has been Pedro. Pedro, we were looking at his curriculum vitae earlier before recording. He's won 3 Champions Leagues, 1 Europa League, 1 World Cup, 1 European Championship, 5 La Ligas, 1 Premier League, and much more.
Stop.
I'll stop. Much more. Right now he's at Roma. He scored 2 goals in 4 games. He's got experience. He's got talent. He's got grit. I really love using this word today. He's got grit. And it feels like Roma's older players are really showing the younger core of the team how to win games.
I think that's what they've needed for a while, right?
Yeah.
Someone who's actually been there and won stuff. They've not had that for a long time.
And also, if you haven't, check out Carles Perez's goal for Roma over the weekend because it was incredible. He ran the entire field and then just nailed it.
Nice. Coast to coast, right? Coast to coast. Nice.
And staying in the Italian capital, Lazio, well, there is a beautiful story. Akpro. So...
My guy. I picked him up in fantasy. Complete random punt. But
midfielder who was at Salernitana until 2 weeks ago, and then Lazio purchased him from Salernitana. He's played 4 games. He scored 1 goal. He's the first UCL debutant to score a goal for Lazio ever since Simone Inzaghi, who's currently Lazio's manager in 1999. And that takes us to Lazio's 3-1 win over Dortmund. I was impressed.
I don't think anybody saw this coming, right? I had all my money on Dortmund on this one.
I didn't see it coming. It was a pretty good display from Lazio after a rocky start to the season, including a 3-0 defeat against Sampdoria, which left everybody with their mouths open. So it's kind of difficult to predict how Lazio are going to do this year. But to me, every year, winning the first Champions League game is groundbreaking. Lazio have done it against the best opposition they have in their team. So these 3 points are golden for the Biancocelesti. Good job, guys. And staying in Italy, Rory, you were getting distracted with the Arsenal game. I saw you.
The stream just went. But anyway, right, let's go.
No, and staying in Italy, we are kind of like talking about the biggest topics of the week. And I would like to use this space, our podcast, to praise Andrea Belotti. Andrea Belotti at Torino since 2015, 2016. He knows that Torino are not going to accomplish much. Their best standing at the end of the league was in 2018, 2019 when they finished 7th.
They got in the Europa League that year, right?
Yeah, they went to the Europa League that year because Milan were banned from the AC Milan were banned from the Europa League. This year, Torino have started in terrible form. 3 L's on 3 games. And guess who scored the 4 goals? That they scored in 3 games. They're all from Belotti. He's Torino's captain, and what I really appreciate about him, a guy who has scored 96 goals in 195 games for Torino. He's the captain, and big teams have knocked at Torino's door to purchase him, but it feels like he wants to stay, and he's never showing. Even when Torino are down, he's never giving up. He's always the first one to cheer up his teammates. And I feel like he's really a captain who leads by example. Ruairi, what has just happened?
We've just gone 1-0 down.
Ooh, this is live.
The stream has just come on as Leno is swearing at himself.
All right. So
Fuck's
October
sake.
22nd, we're recording on a Thursday, and Ruairi is watching the game live during the podcast. We'll see how it goes in case
I'm sorry, guys. I'm turning it off now. Right.
For him. But staying in Italy, another controversy that I would like to address is the Dybala situation at Juventus.
Okay, I don't really know what's going on here. I've just seen a lot on social media, and I assume he's out in the cold, but I don't know why.
So I just want to say that Juventus are a very good team at covering up things that are going south in their team, while Inter Milan are the polar opposite.
I know that feeling.
Everything that Eriksen does, everything that Eriksen says, it might be misinterpreted. Right now people are saying that he has publicly asked the coach and the club to let him go to another team, which is beep, in my opinion. At Juventus, there is a true situation with Dybala, who they've been trying to sell, not even so secretly, for the past 2 years. And I understand how the player right now, he's asking for more. He wants more playing time, probably wants more money. I believe his contract is done in 1.5 years. And he liked the tweet from an Italian journalist who said, what's the point of taking Dybala to an away game in Crotone if you're not going to play him? Dybala liked this tweet. The press in Italy didn't even mention it. Imagine if Eriksen had pressed on a tweet like that. It would have been all over the place. So I don't want to say good job to Juve for being able to always cover things up, but also keep an eye on Dybala, guys, because I'm not so sure that he's going to renew his contract with Juventus. And maybe Juventus will have to let him go in an Eriksen-like fashion over the January transfer window. So keep an eye on Dybala.
That was definitely a backhanded compliment to Juve, by the way. But
talking about strange situations with players and their clubs, there was a pretty big one in England.
Yeah,
right,
you were talking about how your club is unable to deal with any media scrutiny. Well, I feel like I share your pain again as an Arsenal fan, how any story that possibly comes out about this club is the end of the world. And okay, guys, I know even if you're not an Arsenal fan, you'll be sick of hearing this name. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you'll definitely be sick of hearing this name. But I'm going to do a couple of minutes on Mesut Özil. So,
ta-da.
Here we go. I loved Özil. The day he signed was one of the most excited I've been in my life. We were signing a top 5 player in the world at the time. It was a statement signing. It was meant to be the new era of Arsenal. It was meant to be this, here we go, we are going for the title. And he was good. If he hadn't have been supplying Olivier Giroud for one season at least, I think his stats for assists would have been through the roof. He's been great for us. The last 2 years since Emery arrived, he's definitely dropped off. But now, obviously, the story is that he's not been registered in the Europa League or Premier League squad. And as I currently watch us lose to Rapid Vienna, I think we could do with Mesut Özil and some creativity. For fuck's sake. But anyway, he's not in the squad. So
that's why there is a symbol that says explicit next to our podcast.
Now, Özil is kind of really passively, aggressively tweeting on his on Twitter, obviously, quite often kind of digging it. It's got subtle digs, right? So the first one was the statement about the club where he said loyalty is hard to find these days. Definitely a pointed statement, right? Then yesterday was Arsene Wenger's birthday. Happy birthday, Arsene. In which he tweeted, you are the greatest man and there's no one in football who has as much class and dignity as you, or something. Definitely a dig at Arteta and the club as well. And then today, before kickoff, he talked about because I can't support on the field, I'll be supporting at home on the sofa. And the 4 players who he predicted to score are all his friends. So I think it's now a battle between him and the club to see who's in the right. But I think both sides have lost the moral high ground, right? Yeah. Özil had the club told him they don't want him anymore. They told him he could leave. They offered to cancel his contract. And he said, no, I'm happy to sit here and do nothing, right? His moral high ground is gone.
Well, do nothing. Earn 300 grand.
Well, yeah, but for
a week.
For training, right?
Yeah, that's
for
great.
Training for what, right?
I would sign. Where do I sign, guys?
Yeah, exactly, right? So he's kind of lost the moral high ground there. But the club, and I think the club are more in the wrong here. And again, this is kind of a conspiracy theory. I know as little as everybody else. But it is, to me, it can't be a coincidence that he hasn't played since his comments about the Uyghur Muslims in China. Now,
there go our Chinese followers, which are 0 at the moment.
You know what? Fine, right? Fine. I think when he made the statement, the club distanced themselves, which I think is just horrific. And now it seems like he can't get in the team. Anyway, I'm sick of talking about it. You're sick of hearing about it. I wish the club could deal with it better. I wish Mesut Özil was available for selection, but he's not.
But guess what was the other big talking point this week? Virgil van Dijk died. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. Rest in peace, big Virg, right?
So we called this in our whiteboard that we have here with our talking points. This is called injured player obituaries. Rory, you want to shine a light over that one?
Something that again has been making me incredibly angry for the past couple of days. Now I get it. The Jordan Pickford tackle was reckless. It was. Jordan Pickford does reckless things quite a lot. We've seen him play, right? He's
a raver after all.
Yeah, get the rave on, right?
Yeah.
It's a shame that he has injured someone. It's genuinely terrible that Virgil van Dijk's going to be out for a year.
That was an horrible tackle.
I get it,
it's
right?
a shame for any goalkeeper in the world to see that. But
the vitriol that was thrown at Pickford from Liverpool fans, who claim to have the moral high ground quite a lot, by the way, is awful. They were calling for him to be banned as long as Virgil's injured. Like, come on, right?
Or to get 1 extra point for that game, which was because they should have had a goal that was ruled offside.
Like, the revisionism is daft. Now, I'm not saying Liverpool fans are... Maybe they're a little bit worse than some other fans, but all football fans are kind of bad for doing this. It started in 2014 when the Brazil squad held up those Neymar shirts, and it's a trend. One of the trends I hate most about modern football is acting like, when players are injured, acting like they've died.
Yeah.
I saw Liverpool fans tweeting, "Rest easy, big man." Like, the guy's not died, right? He's done his knee. He'll be back. He'll be back stronger. That's the type of person he is. It annoyed me this week.
And there was that clip that I believe you shared on our Twitter. That clip that shows that Pickford, the whole time, while Virgil van Dijk was running towards him, he was looking at the ball up in the sky. And I don't believe that Pickford wanted to injure Virgil van Dijk.
Of course he didn't.
Guys, you're playing a football game. You're playing a Merseyside derby. You're not thinking, how can I injure the opposition defender? No, you're thinking about getting that ball. I'm not saying that his tackle was clean. It was horrible. It's not a football tackle.
Yeah.
But guess what? Shit happens in football all the time, over and over. We've seen it with the best players in the world. Get over it, guys.
And my last point as a slightly bitter Arsenal fan is the fact that when it happened to Ramsey, when it happened to Eduardo, when it happened to Diaby, we were told, it's Arsenal being soft, get over it, you can't handle a tackle, and we were told to move on. Which one is it?
Yeah.
Right? Ramsey has never reached his potential because of that. Diaby basically never played again. Eduardo the same. These tackles happen. None of the players meant it. In fact, we were told to feel sorry for Ryan Shawcross when he did Ramsey. Like, which one is it, guys?
And guess what? Resilience is another quality that you have in football. Let's see right now how Liverpool can handle their defense without Virgil van Dijk, because nobody says that you always have to play with your starting centre-back. So if your starting centre-back gets injured, which is in the book of possibilities,
of course,
how can you cope with his absence? Inter Milan have had to do it with the absence of Skriniar and Bastoni, who are two centre-backs. And guess what? We found out that our backups together look like shit. So I hope that for Liverpool, this is different. We're almost done with the Euroreview. Just a little praise to Manchester United. For my part, I decided to put this up in the whiteboard because as an Italian fan, looking at the Premier League, having grown up with Manchester United being a powerhouse, it really felt like in the recent years, their starting lineup was a bit of an odd bunch. You couldn't really understand if midfielders were supposed to be midfielders or to attack or to defend, and it was kind of weird to look at.